Let's talk about Evergreen State. Now, Evergreen State is a university in Washington State. And it is a very left-of-center institution. And a couple months ago, they do this thing every year. And this is a university that's very, very steeped in racism and discriminating against people because they are white. It is. I mean, it's happening everywhere. Every year for a while, Evergreen State has had people of color, faculty, students leave the campus to have an impact on the college so people could see what things are like without minorities on the campus. Well, this year, they decided to say to white students and faculty, you have to leave. This wasn't voluntary. This was choosing to make people leave because of the color of their skin. I mean, wow, really? One professor said, no, I'm not going to do this. No, no, it's racist. It's terrible. And the bullies, the thugs, the fascists at Evergreen State actually held hostage the president of the university in a library, wreaked havoc on the campus, caused property damage, physically threatened people who disagreed with them. And this became, to me, it became the battleground, I guess, the final Pickett's charge for radical leftist racism on campuses around the country and the crushing of the First Amendment by leftists. We saw it at Berkeley with Milo Yiannopoulos, who I find to be insufferable. I don't like him. If you are a conservative and you are invested in Milo Yiannopoulos, honestly, not going there. I think I'd rather have Ben Shapiro on my side. Milo Yiannopoulos is a nasty queen. I'll just say it. Milo Yiannopoulos, nasty queen. Smart guy. I don't want to hear about you performing BJs on a clergy member when you were growing up on the Howard Stern show. I don't want to hear it, Milo or what the hell your name is. I find you kind of gross. I find you kind of gross. I don't need to hear about your bedroom habits, and I don't need to hear you about your black boyfriend. I don't care if it's black, white, purple, whatever. No, I'm not going to go there. But I just think he's a nasty queen. Sorry. I could say that. Mackenzie Kiger, a student at the university, has decided to speak out against this. In this university that has become a bastion of racism against white people. It really has. I'm going to share some comments that she did. I'm not sure if this was with Blaze Radio or not. She's no longer a student right now. She left. I got a kid as a white boy. Never had a racist thought in his mind. All of his friends when he was growing up in Maryland were kids of color. Didn't give a crap. But there is a victimology culture in the country. There's a group of people in the country who feel like there's some sort of a payback needed to a generation who have never suffered any of the indignities of those who went through it sincerely as 1968 and 1955 and 19 whatever. But there was a group of spoiled, entitled millennials. You saw this at the University of Missouri. Saw this at Berkeley. There is a meme going around in the country right now that basically attempts to blame all of society's ills now on white people. I was not a slave owner. I've never called a black person an N-word. I've been out of work probably more than many people of color. It's a way of diverting from the real ills of segments of society, including the black community. That's just the way it is, man. It's the way it is. Murder rate, out of control. A lot of black kids not getting to school and college. You know why? Because they're not graduating high school. 70% abortion rate in inner cities. 75% fatherless home right in inner city. Blame it on the white guy. So this Evergreen State University student, Mackenzie Kiger, decided she'd speak out because she's just had enough abuse. Here she is talking in this interview about what she went through while Evergreen State was holding presidents hostage and creating a faux racism climate.
But my first quarter here, I walked into the library, I think twice that quarter, and there were conferences going on. I think one of them was like a trans people of color conference. I don't know what the other one was, but walked in and they were just talking about how terrible white people are. I was just kind of shocked that that was allowed. Like, not that I was personally offended, because I don't know, if that's what you think, that's what you think.
Yeah, and she's smart, because if you're offended, great, so what, you're offended. But when it starts wrecking your life, I have no problem with being offended. That's what the First Amendment's all about. It's being offended. Being offended is a glorious thing. I love being offended. If I offend you, hell yeah! I don't do it intentionally. This is a kid. She just what have I done? I'm 20 years old. Why? What have I done to you?
But I was just really concerned that that was allowed to just be taught in this public space. Just people talking about how white people are the root of every problem, how terrible we are, and overgeneralizing and saying like this about all white people.
Isn't this kind of what happened in Germany? You had some elite effete people who said, "Oh, they can't be talking about me. They're talking about other Jewish people. They're talking about other Jewish people." How well did that work out? Here's a little more from this girl, and again, Mackenzie, talking about how she's trying to get her a biology degree. I'm not sure she's going to be a veteran or a veterinarian or whatever. And how she was lured into a class that she expected to learn about biology ended up being about this bullshit social justice crap.
So my second class was dancing molecules, dancing bodies, and it was supposed to be chemistry, anatomy, physiology, and dance. Within the first 2 weeks, the chemistry part of the class got dropped. There was very little anatomy, physiology, so it was essentially a dance and social justice class.
Yeah,
I ended up just taking leave the second quarter. Okay.
The old social justice. Now, social justice is a new major that was ushered in by Barack Obama. It's about social activism. It is about being a academic, affecting change through community organizing. It doesn't get any simpler than that. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Mackenzie Kiger goes on to talk about whites not being allowed. There was a meeting in a library, and there were people excluded just for their race. How do you justify that? Here is Mackenzie talking about that.
Entering the library and riding the elevator up to the 4th floor of the library, getting off of that elevator, and then it was just a hallway lined up with white students. Immediately when I got off the elevator, I was told that I couldn't go into
Now, the white students were not allowed into the library.
The room.
Despite the fact these kids have never been racist, in 2017, these kids are between 18, I'm assuming, and 22. Never had a racist thought. And suddenly, they can't use the drinking fountain of their choice, and they can't attend the meeting of their choice.
Because I was white. I was not okay with that, so I just kind of ignored it and kept on walking down this hallway. Somebody else stopped me and said I couldn't go in without a police escort. But I could see the room, and there were white people in there, so I was a little confused, so I also just ignored that person and kept walking. And then I was told that I was allowed to go in, but I couldn't speak, I couldn't express my concerns, and I couldn't make any or ask any questions because I'm white.
Welcome to South Africa in 1989, folks. Honestly, I'm sending a kid to college in a year and a half. I'm not going to put up with this crap. I'm not going to put up with this crap. Oh, but it gets worse. It gets worse. Again, we're hearing from Evergreen State college student Mackenzie Kiger about the racism. This is just a metaphor for colleges around the country, kids. And I went to KU with my son, and I saw the same bullcrap propaganda posted on professors' doors just in the film school. It's time to end this leftist bullshit indoctrination on campus. Here's a little bit more about the meeting on campus at Evergreen State University that Mackenzie was able to get to, even though she was a white person.
I didn't say anything like they asked of me, but was pretty disgusted with the way the meeting was going. People were standing on chairs, yelling at George, screaming profanities.
George is the president of the university, who is a giant P word for kitty.
At him. There was a lot of faculty in the room, and actually there
were a lot of faculty. You need English here. Just that 100-level intro class.
Wall behind me was lined with faculty, and they were cheering on all these students acting like crazy people, which was so bizarre to me.
Finally. And by the way, Dennis says, liberals want every kind of diversity except for diversity of thought. 100%, brother. 100%. Liberalism used to mean diversity of thought. It did. That's what originally what it was meant to be. It is the absolute antithesis of that. Dennis, great thought. Great thought. One more thought, and this is this young woman, Mackenzie Kiger, talking about not only just the obscenity, it's the obscenity of the people who are in this meeting, excluding white people because of race, but the capitulation from faculty.
And it blows my mind that they screamed these demands at him like this, and they got everything they asked for. This behavior has been completely encouraged, and that to me is pretty appalling.
Now, they did this at the University of Missouri, and they ended up losing their university president and the chancellor, because these dumbasses, instead of saying to children who've never been through any hardship, who didn't have to fight their way to college, who didn't have to march across bridges in Selma, who didn't have to be attacked by water cannons and German shepherds in 1968, who weren't born until 1990. Instead of saying, get your asses to your classes, and saying, you're effing children. All right, you might be 18 years old, but you're effing children. Get your asses to your classes. They capitulated to these morons. It'd be like, I don't know. You're at the candy aisle with your kid. You're at the grocery store, and there's the baby bottle pops. I know this, and there's the whatever. And instead of going, your child's going, I need this because I need this. And you as a parent know it's not what the kid needs. It's not the right thing. Let's focus on this. Let's focus on this. Let's focus on this. It's saying, frickin' clean out the gosh darn candy section, load it in the cart because I can't deal with this anymore. That's what this is all about. Honestly, the breaking point. And I play this because there is, let me see if I can find it here. Here is an Evergreen student about a month ago talking at a rally against the administration because of all the racism and all the other stuff. Now, what happens when you focus on all this social justice crap? You lose the understanding of the basics. You're being distracted from things that could really benefit you in the real world. Listen to this idiot child speaking at a leftist rally at Evergreen. Listen to this child trying to just read a statement to the audience.
Has demonstrated anti-blackness in the pigeonholing, charging, and sentencing of 2 black trans disabled students based on false racially charged allegations. Sorry.
Excuse me.
That is a college student who can't read. Yeah.